This is gonna blow your mind. News, ghosts, travel, and pop culture all in one show. Ready to dive in? Let's go. From breaking headlines and eerie encounters to epic European adventures and the latest pop culture craziness, nothing's off limits. Robert, Crew, and Julie bring shock, laughs, and those wait, seriously, moments every episode. Hit subscribe, join the fun, and ride the chaos with us. This is the Robert and Crew Show, Season 7 Unleashed.
You heard it, people. It's Season 7 Unleashed. This is the Rock and Crew Show, Season 7, Episode 3. And obviously, you can tell what we're discussing tonight because of what my name says.
Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm your podcast, apparently tonight, co-host, Robert.
And I'm apparently tonight, the host, Tartarian Crew.
And I'm your co-host, Julie. Your one and only Julie.
Bro, Crew changes people every single day now. Have you noticed? He's got a different name for every single day of the week.
Well,
yes.
You know what? I kind of like doing it this way because every episode, I'm gonna switch it up, to make it, lively for whatever topic we're doing. I'm Tartarian Crew right now. I'm from Tartarian Empire, so I'm this crew. I'm not no Nibiru crew. I'm not no clone crew. I'm the Tartarian crew.
So, explain then, Mr. Tartarian Crew, what Tartaria is for the people that are just going to tune in tonight that have heard absolutely nothing about what Tartaria is.
Okay. Well, before I go into a deep dive, and yes, I said deep dive, even though I made
deep
sure
dive.
we don't. Even though I don't want it in the title of any more episodes, which we got in that whole debate a while back.
Just a second, guys. I'm changing the episode to deep dive.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't you dare. Okay, but no. Before we get into a deep dive of the information I have and the vignettes that we're gonna watch today, could you do me a favor, bro, and pull up the picture that I sent to you so that way they can see thank you. So this right here, the fellow viewers of one of the greatest podcasts that we have running, 7 seasons so far, called The Great Tartaria, or The Great Tartar. This is basically an old map of what the Great Tartar or Tartarian or Grand Tartary looked like back in the day. Way back in the 1700s to it ended by, what was it again? The 1800s?
I mean, I don't know when the Tartarian Empire ended, but it was basically obliterated out of history and off of maps at some point. People knew knew about Grand Tartary and Western Tartary and Eastern Tartary, but nobody really talked about them.
Now, there's a book which I sent a while back to Rob. It was a video that I sent him of this book that showed some of the maps from the Great Tartarian Empire around, and it showed America before Canada was ever established. And it had California in there. It had most of the lower part called Florida. And
yeah, the United States was almost basically all Florida.
Oh yeah. And it showed some the Great Tartar maps. We had China Tartaria. We had a whole bunch of different Tartarias back in the day, and this was before
Tartary.
Yeah, and basically, that was around the time that the globe was established. they stopped doing flat Earth stuff and start implementing the globe, which Rob has a globe. So,
We do.
which that's when the globes actually were made around the 1770. Was it what was it 1776?
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. When was the first globe made?
Well, while Rob's looking that up, I'll go into more in the deep dive of the Great Tartarian Empire. So the Great Tartarian Empire, or the Great Tartar.
The first globe was made between 1490 and 1492.
Okay, so basically, this is an ancient civilization that was so advanced that we've gone over like twice and a few other times in different episodes where we just bring it up and go in a little topic with a little bit about it, but we did episodes on it alone. As you can tell, this is part 3. So they were so advanced that they had buildings that could, basically take energy and use electricity. They had technology that was so advanced that
It was free energy.
yeah, free energy. The free energy is what helped them get so advanced, and they were so smart. They loved doing Romanesque architecture. They had statues that looked so realistic, very beautiful art. You could tell by the designs that it was done with it looked like lasers, not hammer and chisel. And a lot of the buildings that are still around to this day, they dug up from, what was it, bro?
They dug it up.
What exactly made them?
Oh.
Well, not them,
You
but
wanna
what
talk
exactly
about
made those buildings?
mud flood?
Yep, the mud flood.
Mud
Now,
floods?
We still need to get a shirt with the chisel and hammer on it.
but
Just for
anyways,
truth.
yeah, okay. But here's the thing. So this is a big topic. It's starting to get known. People are starting to wake up and know the truth about this big old topic, the Tartarian Empire. And here's
And the
why.
beautiful buildings.
Well,
Beautiful.
not just that, but the fact that they use ether as their energy source.
Well, they use the ether. They pull energy from the ether.
Ether, same thing.
Yeah.
Right. But one of the things that I do love so most that they used was on top of the building. They had this ball, like this iron ball, right? And inside that iron ball had mercury in it. So basically, they use that to, absorb the ether.
Pull electric current from the ether.
Yeah.
And how did they do that?
So basically, it was kind of like a weather absorber, kind of like. I'll give that kind of like an example in best way I can. So basically, it's a ball, right? An iron ball on top of a building. And can you pull up a picture of what exactly I'm describing so Julie can see what I'm talking about? Right?
Yeah.
And you said it can draw electricity?
Oh yeah. It can power up a whole building.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've been seeing videos where they talk about that, but
And
People aren't saying a whole lot about the little balls on the building.
and then after that, I'm going to talk about the bells, because the bells. Before I get into the bell topic, which you'll find this interesting, Julie. But when Rob pulls this up, I'll go more into this real quick. But after that, I'm going to talk about the bells. You'll love hearing about the bells.
I think we mentioned them one other time,
We
but
have,
they're very neat. Yeah.
yeah. And there's a conspiracy about Nazis with the bells.
Hmm.
We can't prove it. It's all alleged in a
Yeah.
way, but it's more believable in my perspective. I believe your perspective as well, bro, about the bells with the Nazis.
Okay, so it's not really wanting to pull up anything, but Google, it's not going to pull up jack crap about this because it wants to act like you're lying, basically. But I did find this. This is definitely drawn, but it's how these things look.
And then people used to put flags on them, right?
Okay, so see those balls right there, Julie?
Yeah.
So the one in the middle, the very very top, it has like a lightning rod in top in the middle. Inside and on the bottom is that ball.
Yeah.
Basically, the lightning rod would get struck by lightning. The ether would go inside that ball, iron ball, power up with the mercury
No,
spinning around.
no, it would make the mercury spin
Yeah, it would make the
inside
mercury
the
spin
ball,
around.
thus
Okay.
creating energy somehow from the mercury via the mercury being stimulated by atmospheric pressure and electricity from the ether itself.
Yeah,
But we don't know
Kind of
that to
like,
be true or false. Nobody's actually proven that. But weird things are is we've actually seen some of this technology in videos actually working, specifically in Russia.
yeah,
Spheres
okay.
like this, gold spheres, creating electricity without being inside of an electricity storm that you can visibly see. But these things creating electricity at the top. So it's odd. It's odd. We don't know if it's actually created energy or not, but that's what they were believed to have been.
right.
Okay.
Now on to the bell topic. Now they had big, big, big bells, like huge, like bigger, like size of like a building, kind of like.
Do you know why they had the bells, crew?
They were a healing factor.
Yes, they healed.
Yeah. So when you get a certain frequency from the bells, when they start, making that sound, and supposedly it would heal the surrounding area, everybody around it. It would give you a healing factor. It would make you healthy. It would make you breathe better. It would literally make you feel great. And they took them all down, and you still in certain areas that had those huge bells, you can still see some of the remnants of like small bells still standing,
Well,
hooked up
you know where all the bells ended up, right?
in the ground.
Yeah, and you know where they ended up in the ground, right?
like a bell graveyard.
And where was
Or
the bell
covered up.
graveyard?
Germany,
Yes, and who had all of the bells?
the Nazis, and you want to know what the Nazis did with all those bells,
What did they
Julie?
claim? Well, what did they claim they were doing with all the bells?
Making them into ammo.
Yeah, making them an ammunition. Dude,
Yeah.
you know your
Wow.
stuff. You actually know your stuff. Good shit. I'm proud of you.
Now, it's messed up. To I hate the fact that it's all alleged, though we can't prove it, but it's believable.
Yeah.
It's very well believable.
Well, the bells. So bell frequencies. All right. So there are certain frequencies that are proven to heal the human body.
Hmm.
Bells being one of them.
Mhm.
Now, we don't see giant church bells like we used to. They used to be
No.
all over the place, okay? Those are gone because why would you want to heal? Okay, this is the conspiracy behind the bells. Why would you want to heal your entire community if you are a community that pushes pharmaceuticals and the healthcare system making money? You wouldn't want giant bells that ring every hour on the hour, healing the people within the vicinity of these vibrational frequencies. Now, Julie, there is one place that has never gotten rid of its giant healing bells, and they'll tell you directly, and that's the Vatican. And they do believe those bells heal the people around them. And
Yeah.
they went out and they actually found the Nazi bell graveyard. That the people who found it were the Vatican, and they were looking for the bells. Most of the bells were still in the ground buried. They've probably been recovered by the Vatican and other churches that were interested in acquiring these bells. But a lot of the bells, as Crew said, were melted down and used as ammunition. That is what
Yeah.
the
And
the horrible Nazi Germans did. They melted down those beautiful healing bells.
I've seen one that on a video. It was gigantic, really pretty bell this lady was showing, and it was huge.
Well, you know,
And I don't think it had a bell inside it anymore,
there's a
but it used to be
specific
one.
there's a specific healing bell that all Americans should know about.
Very
What's the biggest
interesting because I
bell?
never really
There was
knew
a
about it.
huge healing bell that we nicknamed something that got a giant crack in it. Does anybody
The
remember
Liberty Bell.
A
There you
Liberty
go.
Bell.
Mhm.
That is one of those bells that had supposedly had healing frequency. And when it broke, they immortalized it. They literally made it a symbol of like patriotism.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's pretty crazy that a bell meant that much to those people. You know what I mean? Like it was a healing. It was more than just a symbol. It was a symbol of health and healing.
Yeah.
The church
Now,
used them all the time.
yeah. Now, before I get into the deep dive of the information I have, last thing
The
we'll talk
deep
about
dive.
the monolith.
Hold up, crew. I'm really going to
Or
change
not
the name of
monolith.
this episode to Deep Diving Tartarian Empire.
Not monoliths. I meant to say, oh gosh, what are they called? What are they called? What are they called?
You're ignoring me now.
Shit. Fuck. What are they called?
You said they're
What are
not.
those big old churches called? Help me out here.
What? Wait, what did you say?
The big old churches. What are they called?
Cathedrals.
Thank you. Cathedrals. I'm getting on the cathedral topic real quick before I, read the information I have. Cathedrals, the very top. The singing, if you sing so loud and you keep singing, you make echoes, you make all these loud sounds. The ceiling
Carries
would,
frequency.
would take all that sound, make with the frequency it has, and power up the building. And it makes it so loud inside there, and it makes it sound so beautiful. Now,
Cathedrals are healing, also, just like bells.
what they said back in the day, cathedrals during the Tartarian Empire were actually known as healing centers.
Yep,
Hmm.
correct. Crew is studied. He actually knows his shit. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you for studying because I've done a lot of studying on Tartaria and the churches. Yes, the cathedrals, man, they were the healing centers. They were the bells. The bells were kept there. The people, the communities would go there to the centers of the churches when they would ring these bells, and the people would claim of there'd be no cancer, there'd be no death, there was no dying. There were people that claimed to live to 115, 125 years old.
Thinking of that, there was a video, I don't know how real it is, but they showed a guy that was 200 years old in a foreign country. And
Well,
he was all
the
stooped
oldest
over and
there's a claim that's not proven, so obviously Google's going to tell you differently, but the oldest man alive, and that was like alive until like 2010 or 11 or something, was supposedly 195 years old. I don't believe it. I think it's a crock of crap. And I think it's like the stuff that gets pushed around in like the Inquirer magazine. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's
because
bullshit. It's
the
people trying to
oldest
get
I've heard of somebody alive was maybe 115, no more than that.
So
Maybe 110.
my grandmother had a friend who was 112. So people definitely live way past 115. Like it can happen. You can live to 118, 119, possibly even 120 or 125. But living past that, I mean, do you really want to live past that? Do you want to be in that state of life? Because I mean, most of those people are already deteriorating. You don't really want to live that long. And
Yeah,
only like people in the days of the Bible, right, live to like 5 to 900 years. Like, is that a real thing or is that an
in
exaggeration?
the biblical days, it was real thing, but in
Really though,
nowadays,
I don't know.
I don't think it's that long.
I feel like age could be lost in translation of the Bible. And the reason I say that is because the Bible has outrageous lifespans. And I
Yeah.
mean outrageous. Like there are a couple people who live past 1,000 years. So it's
Yeah.
quite crazy. And I mean, we're not turtles. Okay, turtles can live up to like two. Like there's a couple turtles that have lived almost like a couple
A
centuries.
1,000 years.
No, not 1,000 years,
I
but like
mean,
like
no.
200 years old, like
Yeah.
200-year-old turtles. Okay, and like I think the
And
oldest
one just
tortoise,
had baby turtles.
I think the oldest tortoise in the world, like to this day, was the one that just had baby turtles. And
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is, but he's pretty old. But to get back onto the Tartarian subject, these people that were living this old, they were only living this old and living this good because of all the healing frequencies and vibrations that they had around them, supposedly
Yeah.
back in that time. So, do I believe that people could have lived to like 140? Maybe. But do you think it would be a good life? Probably not. Like, once you get up to like 110, you probably like, I mean, this is harsh to say, but you probably want it to just be over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Some
can't
people.
imagine wanting to live past 100 years old unless I get to keep the body that I'm in now.
Yeah. Because,
So
I
quite
mean, as
honestly,
you get older, our bodies are definitely not the same.
no, I think it's an exaggeration. I think all stories, whether it be Tartaria or the Bible or these different like stories, because that's what they are, they're stories. Like the Bible is, sure, it can be historical and biblical and a beautiful book, but it doesn't mean that even 99.9% of it has to be true. It can honestly be a 95% is true and there's 5% that was added for sexiness. Like in all reality, that's what things like that happen. People spice up stories, right? Like it's just what happens.
Yeah.
So when you get that, it's really hard to tell like what gets lost in translation of certain texts and what doesn't. And I'm not saying that the Bible is mistranslated. Like, so don't like come at me and be like, Rob's saying the Bible's mistranslated. No, I'm not. I'm saying it's possible. There's a big possibility that mistranslations have happened.
Yeah,
And
because there are different versions
lifespan.
that get mistranslated.
Lifespans, Julie. Nobody's living 900 years old. I'm sorry. Like nobody's
Not
living that old.
not in today and age.
How are they living that long?
Okay. So I'm gonna nip this in the butt real quick. So I'm getting on the ice wall topic real quick.
Oh boy.
Oh, the
Hold
flat
on.
Earth ice wall.
Hold on. I have something interesting. Okay. So during the round of the times, Adam and Eve, before the Great Flood, the atmosphere was different, right?
Yeah.
People could breathe better. The oxygen level was so precise that everybody could live longer. But when the Great Flood happened, all that water built up the oxygen, turning it into ice surrounding us. And all that oxygen that turned into ice, that's where you get that dark blue ice.
The sky ice.
Mhm.
But what
That's
does
the
sky
oxygen
ice have to do
from
with
around the
Tartaria?
times of Adam and Eve before the Great Flood. All that oxygen turned into the ice.
But what does that have to do with Tartaria?
I'm just
For
okay.
people-
So we
for
were on the
people
topic
living-
about
for
people living
to
longer and all that,
years old. Yeah, like
and why people can't live longer anymore.
why does that affect people's age?
Okay, so when you oxygen and all that air and all that different atmosphere and all that basically so basically how
Different
I'm wording this,
toxics.
it, over the years, ever since the Great Flood, people haven't been able to live longer like they could before the Great Flood because of the oxygen. Now, that oxygen that was around before the Great Flood became the ice because of the water. So basically, water can affect certain things like oxygen. So when it rises up, right? When the water rises up, in a scientific aspect, when water rises up,
evaporates. When water evaporates into the atmosphere, is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Well, basically, when you have all that rain coming down, right, and it starts to raise up, right?
Yeah, that's evaporation.
Yeah. So basically, all that oxygen turns into ice,
Okay.
and then all that oxygen that we had back in the days of Adam and Eve before the Great Flood became all that ice because of the flood.
Then what are clouds?
Yes.
No, I'm saying then what are clouds? Is that ice? Is that are clouds ice? Are they frozen molecules?
It can.
Okay.
Because you gotta think certain weather. You gotta think certain weather patterns are affected differently.
Yeah, and we've been having some strange weather, but right now we're talking about Tartarian.
Right. So, we are, but at the same time, I'm giving the aspect because we were on the age topic, and this goes perfect with it, and we were on the Bible topic. So, I'm giving a little analogy
examples.
So that basically that's what that explains more, so why people can't age longer like they used to. Because all that oxygen we had make us live longer.
I don't know if I can buy that people live to 900 years of age. I'm sorry, I can't buy that. I don't buy that. I think that's a crock of shit. I think that's a mistranslation. I think that's spicing up a story to make it sexy. Nobody lives to 900 years old. Even the oldest
Well,
person to ever
only
live.
in biblical days.
Well,
Okay,
either way,
we'll
I
go
mean,
with that. It doesn't affect me if it happened in biblical days, but I don't think it could have even happened back then. The only way it happens is, for instance, somebody has to know how to live, and they have to know how to survive, and they have to have no enemies. They have to have nobody has can be after them. They can't catch a disease ever. They can't. Their bodies have to be basically immune to everything to live to that long. Like that's insane. Not a single one of them is getting cancer. Not a single like, and which I believe that back then, like probably not because they didn't have as many like man-made substances that hurt them. But there's still to the effect of cancer does have a genetic pattern. So like somebody had to have gotten it eventually at some point, even if they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Cells
I
go
mean, they
bad in
used
the
to have
body.
leprosy and stuff like that, and people used to be paralyzed. And
Well, leprosy came more like around the Black Plague, right? Didn't leprosy come more around then, more around that era? Did they have leprosy in Bible times?
yes.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't studied diseases in the Bible.
well, anyways, let's get back on the Tartaria topic real quick. I'm gonna go. So, Julie,
Well,
I'm gonna
so
give you.
so with the weather thing that you were talking about, crew, how like
Yeah.
I already asked, how does that tie into Tartaria? Because I don't
Okay,
understand.
so basically, when it comes to the oxygen part, right?
Right.
Basically, Tartaria had these advanced styles of ways to, have healing factors, and they help people, be healthy, live longer, yada yada yada. You know, so when it comes to the, oxygen from back in the old days and why it's now ice, it's because all that because the Great Reset for the Bible times was the Great Flood. Tartarian was the mud flood. So both had great resets.
Okay, so I still don't understand the ice and how that affects anybody's health or anything like that. But I understand you're trying to say there was more oxygen back then for whatever reason, and maybe that's true. I don't know. I would like to believe that the Tartarian people just knew what frequency was and how sound and vibration affected the body.
Right.
And they healed themselves that way. And it wasn't really like mysticism. They just knew how to use the world that was around them. And, it became a big problem when people found oil. I think the issue was when oil became a benefactor of society, the free energy was a problem. So the Tartarian civilization had to go away. But we still see their buildings everywhere.
Yes.
The buildings, some of them got covered up, but they didn't just disappear. Some of them were torn down. Some of them.
Mhm. Well, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get back onto the deep dive now. All right. So this gives you a little idea, Julie. Me and Rob already know this, but this gives you a little idea what we're looking at here. Tartaria, or no, Tartary, or Tartaria, is a historical name for Central Asia and Siberia. Conspiracy theories assert that Tartary, or the Tartarian Empire, was a lost civilization with advanced technology and culture. This ignores well-documented accounts of Tartary within the history of Asia. In the present day, Tartary covers a region spanning central Afghanistan to northern Kazakhstan, as well as areas in Mongolia, China, and the Russian Far East.
Hmm.
So that gives you a little idea where Tartaria expanded in present day, uh, you know, in that area.
So where do we find most Tartarian like artifacts and buildings in today's society?
You got city halls. You got the
But what country would you say has the most
Russia,
Tartarian architecture? Russia?
Asia, Russia, Asia, Siberia, um,
What about China?
China, yeah, Mongolia, um, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, well, central Afghanistan, where are the main ones, and then
I
you got
guess there's
Siberia.
still some in the United States. Not as many, but I think there might be some.
Yes, but yeah. So those are the main areas that you can find Tartarian remnants, like buildings and certain architecture, going so on and so forth. And
Yeah.
it's not just there; all over the world too. Like all those certain buildings that look um, Romanesque. But yeah, besides that, here's another thing that also. Um, all right, so I have a bunch, and I'm not going to go all over all of it because it's too much. But I'll go over this real quick. The theory of the Great Tartaria as a suppressed lost land or civilization originated in Russia, with aspects first appearing in Natalie Fomenko's new chronologically in the mid 1970s and early 1980s, and was then popularized uh, by the racial occult history of Nikolai Lavashov. I guess that's how you say his last name. And Russian pseudo science. Known for the nationalism, Tartaria is presented as the real name for Russia, which was maliciously ignored in the West. The Russian Geographical Society has debunked the conspiracy theory as a extremist fantasy, and far from denying the existence of the term, has used the opportunity to share numerous maps of Tartary in its collection. Since about 2016, conspiracy theories about the supposed lost empire of Tartaria have gained popularity on the internet, divorced from its original Russian nationalist frame. So let's take that in for a second. What's your thoughts on that, brother?
Well, my thoughts on that are that they're calling the Grand Tartarian Empire a conspiracy theory that has no proof or backing behind it. And I mean, I understand that, but the looking at it from the aspect of where all of these things came from that we no longer have today, such as the healing bells and the grand cathedrals that were built a certain way, not the ones that are being built in today's day and age, not the modern cathedrals. I'm talking more of like the German-esque Gothic cathedrals. Those ones, they just have healing factors behind them, and a society that's not ours built those. Same thing with the pyramids. A society that was not ours built those.
Yeah.
And to me, a society like Grand Tartary or like the Great Tartarian Empire would be that society.
Yeah. Okay, so I have about after that, I got two more things. Actually, I'm going to go over these last two things because it's basically, um, I have like two more stuff to go over real quick. The globalized version of the conspiracy theory is based on an alternative view of architectural culture. Adherents propose that demolished buildings such as the Singer Building, the original New York Penn Station, and the temporary grounds of the 1915 World's Fair in San Francisco were actually the buildings of a vast empire based in Tartary. Uh,
Hmm.
no, Tartary is how they
From
worded it.
Tartary.
Yeah, Tartary, thank you. That has been suppressed from history. Simultaneously styled Gilded Age buildings are often held out as really having been built by the supposed Tartaria. Other buildings, such as the Great Pyramids and the White House, are further held out as Tartarian constructions. Conspiracy theory only vaguely describes how such a supposedly advanced civilization, which had reputedly achieved world peace, could have fallen and been hidden. Proponents of this theory also frequently claimed that Tartarians have developed unlimited wireless energy.
Interesting.
Well, that was what the Tartarians were known for, was free energy. At least that's what the conspiracy theorists claim. Was that free energy was the big deal. Was Tartarians didn't have to work. They didn't have to be slaves to the government or society. What they could do is they could devote their time to art and initiative and creation and invention. And I mean, some pretty crazy things happened in that time. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, there were electric cars back then. There were electric cars, and like people don't really like talk about that. They don't want to like acknowledge that there was electric cars back then. Like, they were cars that ran on batteries, and you just go to the gas station and you could switch out the battery.
Yeah, I've heard about that before.
Yeah, no, that's real. And then they also had jetpacks and these vehicles that propelled you into the sky, and you could fly them around, and you were just a person in like a cylinder that was like floating in the air. It's pretty cool. Like, and then like there was a lot of bicycle technology and scooter technology, and even technology that was based more along the lines of like human flight that isn't really talked about. Where like for instance zeppelins and airships, we're told that they're like so dangerous. You guys realize that the Hindenburg was like one of the only airship accidents ever, and that was the one that caused the ban of all airships. We banned all airships because one airship was built negligently. It's really weird. Like, airships were they were great. They got good gas. Like, I don't know what you call that. They took like some kind of fuel, but they got great mileage. You could take an airship around the world, and people claim that that was Tartarian. Have you ever seen old pictures? And have you ever looked at the sky in old pictures, like Wild West photos and things like that, and the sky's been whitewashed. There's no sky. There's no clouds. It's not blue. There's no sun. There's nothing. It's just white. Have y'all seen those photos?
I
I'm
think I
not
have a
sure.
long time ago. I just can't remember
They
'em.
exist. They're photos that the background of the sky is whitewashed. Now, why would you whitewash the sky?
I don't know.
Because
I
there's
don't know.
something in the sky that you don't want people to see.
Uh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And what
Um,
that would be these airships. I don't think they're like trying to hide UFOs or like aliens or anything like that. I think they were trying to legitimately hide airships. There were a lot more airships than people realized back then. Airships only got banned after the Hindenburg basically burned its entire crew and all of its passengers alive.
Yeah.
okay, so when you're talking about airships, okay, so you know the Three Musketeers movie with Orlando Bloom?
Yes.
Are you talking about kind of like that, kind of like airship?
Here, I'll show you.
Okay, I want to do this because I want to know exact because I think I know what you're talking about. 'Cause
I've
when you
heard
say
of them.
And bada boom, bada bing, bing, boom.
okay, so kind of like a hot air balloon.
Yeah, kind of like, remember Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Yeah.
Something similar to that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so
Bro, the airships were Tartarian technology. It disappeared after we had those during the Wild West times. That's what they don't tell people. We had airships during Wild West times.
Wow.
Imagine that.
That's hard to imagine right now.
We
Growing up
did.
with all those Western
We
shows
had
and,
airships in Wild West times. And on top
yeah.
of that, we had airships before we had planes.
What
Do you
about
do you remember the Wright brothers?
trains?
Do you remember the Wright brothers
yeah,
who
Yes,
supposedly built the first airplane?
yes.
Did you know that there was a guy that talked to President Lincoln directly who said, "Mr. Lincoln, I've created a way for people to be able to fly, for people to fly in the air on this thing that I call the aeroplane, not the airplane, but the aeroplane is what he called
Oh,
it."
wow. That's
And
neat.
Abraham Lincoln told his main guy to go check it out, his main general, and the main general was like, "This is stupid. Why would we ever need to fly?" And never took that on. Like basically laughed at the guy, even though Abraham Lincoln told him to go check it out. The general
right.
laughed at the dude and was like, "This makes no sense."
Wow.
So we could have been flying a lot quicker than the Wright brothers had government just listened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes
So
sense.
this technology, this Tartarian technology has came a long way. If the Tartarians are real, you best believe that the internet and things like that have always been around. They were not created. They were not created. They were found. They were found. Things like
Yeah,
this are founded, not created.
yeah. Now, all right, I want to go ahead and get on the conspiracy theory real quick because I do have that, and then that's all I have on the information for tonight. In the conspiracy theory, the idea that a mud flood wiped out much of the world via depopulation, and thus old buildings is common, supported by the fact that many buildings across the world have architectural elements like doors, windows, and archways submerged many feet below ground level. Both World War One and Two are cited as a way in which Tartaria was destroyed and hidden, reflecting the reality that the extensive bombing campaigns of World War Two did destroy many historical buildings. The general evidence for the theory is that there are similar styles of building around the world, such as capitol buildings with domes or star forts. Also, many photographs from the turn of the 20th century appear to show deserted city streets in many capital cities across the world. When people do that, do start to appear in the photographs, there is a striking contrast between horse and cart users in the muddy streets and the elaborate, highly ornate stone megastructures that tower above the inhabitants of the cities, which is seen even in the modern cities. There where extreme poverty is contrasted with skyscrapers. Zach
Hmm.
Mortiz, writing the Bloomberg, believes that the theory reflects a cultural discontent or discontent with modernism and a supposition that traditional styles are inherently good and modern styles are bad. He describes the theory as the cool onen of architecture. Moritz Maurer, a religious scholar, links Tartarian imagery to the giant trees theory, in which colossal flat boots are envisioned as the stumps of primordial mother trees cut down at some point in the past by unknown nefarious agents. Maurer attributes the lack of a clear narrative for both conspiracies to the image-based social media on which they are presented, describing it as meme culture and also comparing it to QAnon.
To QAnon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
So,
quick question before
okay,
I lose my train of thought.
go for it.
Rob, when was the first camera ever invented? Because I think that will kind of help tell us the age of when all these Tartarians could have started. Because, I mean, if they had cameras, I mean, I know they've had them very, very long time.
Well, they also, Julie, they also had a way to communicate with the dead.
Uh,
Yeah,
the
they
first
used to.
the first camera ever was made in 1816.
Wow. So that's been a long time. So they've been able to record the Tartarian buildings and mudslides. And why aren't more people talking about it?
Because a lot of people don't like, okay, a lot of people don't want to, it's hard for them to comprehend.
Well, it's hard
Yeah.
for them to believe that their government would cover up something this big and lie to them about something like this.
Yeah, that too. And it's one of those. It's a complex discussion. Now, when Rob first introduced me to Tartaria topic, first ever, through that whole episode on the podcast, I was mind fucked. I could not put in a question. I could not put in I couldn't comprehend anything because I was so awestruck on the whole concept of there ever being an advanced civilization like Tartaria. Now, I love Atlantis. That's one of my biggest favorite topics to go over. Learn, study, research. But ever since then, when Rob introduced me to Tartaria, I've been studying out the ass, learning.
It throws your mind for a loop, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does.
and
Because I remember watching stuff on TV where they showed like the old cars and the old stuff. I mean, way back.
And here's the one thing that gets you thinking. You go through rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole in the Tartarian Empire topic because it's so big and so complex. It's so some of it's hard to comprehend.
And then you find buildings that people have claimed to build, and they're amazing, beautiful buildings that would take like years to build, that they claim were built in like 6 months. Like,
that just doesn't make sense. How can a building like that be built in 6 months and not be falling down?
Yeah, and then the pictures of the beautiful, crazy Romanesque buildings in the background of Wild West photos. People in stagecoaches driving by or taking their horses, trotting by a literal piece of Roman architecture built in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Yeah. It's hard for me to explain, honestly, brother. It really is hard for me to explain.
You expect me to believe that those people were in a horse and buggy when there were Romanesque buildings being built right outside of where they were living, supposedly? I think that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's mind blowing.
Can we hear from our commercial real quick? We got breaking news coming through.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we have breaking news?
We do.
Breaking freaking news, my guy?
Yeah.
You know what keeps me going out here? A cold Dr. Pepper and a great podcast like the Robert and Crew Show.
Thank you, Bigfoot. You always make our day.
They've been keeping this from us. Have you ever noticed the grand, ornate buildings that seem out of place for their time? These structures are remnants of the great Tartarian Empire, a civilization more advanced than any we know today. The Tartarians had technology that could harness free energy from the atmosphere, powering their cities effortlessly. Their architecture wasn't just beautiful, it was functional, designed to capture and use this energy. But when the elites discovered the power of controlling energy, they realized they couldn't let this knowledge spread.
Yeah, which is what I was
So they
saying.
erased Tartaria from history, burned its cities, and rewrote the narrative. What if the history we know is just a shadow of the truth? The Tartarian Empire was proof that the world was once free and abundant, but that knowledge has been hidden from us. We are far more capable and powerful than the rulers want us to believe. They've been keeping this from us. Have you ever noticed?
That one's a good one, and it was explaining some of the stuff that I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
giant in this photo is definitely AI.
Yeah.
It gives you a little idea of how some of the people in their time frame were very tall.
Oh yes.
Because put 2 and 2 together, Anunnaki.
Yeah.
For an electrochemical device that transforms chemical energy into electrical energy, you need an anode and a cathode. By other means, a positively charged electrode and a negatively charged electrode. When you place them in electrolyte solution, ions flow between the electrodes, generating electricity. I'm interested in the word cathode. The cathode is the negative pole of an electric current. It comes from the Greek word kathodos, meaning descend or going down. Interestingly, the word cathode resembles cathedral. Cathedral comes from the Greek word cathedra, meaning down, and hedra, seat or base. Notice something? Ancient architecture and the concepts of anode and cathode. And then there's the magnificent rose window issue. Don't they look similar to a magnetron? A magnetron is a device that creates a magnetic field and emits magnetic energy. Ancient architecture, right? Or were these buildings used as etheric power plants in ancient times? For an electric
So that's basically what you were talking about earlier with cathedrals being healing stations and vibration centers or frequency centers.
Interesting.
Taj Mahal, India, 1648. St. Basil's Cathedral, Russia, 1561. Church of the Resurrection, Russia, 1652. Abu Dhabi Mosque, Malaysia, 1917. Taksim Military Barracks, Turkey, 1806. St. Maria Ramersdorf Church, Germany, 1792. St. Simeon of the Wonderful Mountain Church, Germany, 1874.
Beautiful
Badshahi
building.
Mosque, Pakistan, 1672. Fuller Block, Springfield, USA, 1887. Taj Mahal, India.
Absolutely beautiful buildings. The one in Springfield blows me away.
Right?
Yeah.
Now I want to go see the one in Springfield.
They've been keeping this from us.
Oh,
Have
we
you ever
already saw
noticed
this
the
one.
grand
Sorry, guys.
You're good.
We definitely already saw that one.
Imagine a civilization so advanced that it harnessed free energy and mastered magnetic levitation. This is the essence of Tartaria. Stretching across continents, this ancient empire didn't just build structures, it crafted intricate legacies that defy modern understanding. The ornate cathedrals and grand government buildings we admire today are remnants of this lost world, suggesting that they didn't just emerge through ordinary human effort, but were instead inherited from a civilization that thrived on knowledge and unity before its sudden disappearance. But what happened to Tartaria? The tale of the Great Reset looms like a shadow over our perception. It is theorized that a catastrophic event, whether through natural disaster or advanced technology, erased this society and left behind a puzzle for future generations. The whispers of worldwide mud floods and electromagnetic warfare paint a chaotic picture of loss and erasure, a narrative perhaps too complex for conventional history to handle. The elite, in their quest to maintain control, carefully sculpted a false experience of history, fabricating timelines that omitted the might of Tartaria. As we delve deeper into this intriguing theory, striking anomalies emerge. The orphan trains carrying countless children into oblivion without proper explanation, photographs of desolate cities eerily devoid of construction or human presence, and the allure of architecture that appears far too sophisticated for its supposed era. These hints beckon us to reevaluate what we've been taught, to question the grand narrative of history, urging us to uncover what truly lay behind the veil of the Tartarian reset. The past remains a labyrinth, waiting for those bold enough to explore.
Mud floods. Mud floods. So you believe in the fact that there were probably a couple different mud floods that covered up Tartarian architecture around the world?
Yeah. Because you know what that reminded me? Seeing those statues on that one video reminds me of Was it China or Japan that had those statues that they finally uncovered?
Are you talking about in China? It was the terracotta warriors.
Yes,
Yeah,
because wouldn't that be part of Tartar? I
maybe.
mean, they were covered up. They just discovered them, what, how long ago?
I mean, the terracotta soldiers have been discovered for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how long ago that was.
Our world is shrouded in mystery. Ancient cultures, lost to time, whisper secrets through the ruins they left behind. One such enigma is the Tartarian Empire, a civilization erased from history, yet hinting at an extraordinary past. Across the globe, from the Americas to Asia, stand magnificent structures, their grandeur defying conventional explanations. Were these the creations of the Tartarians, a people who mastered technologies beyond our comprehension? The Tartarian Empire, as whispered tales suggest, spanned vast continents. Its people possessed advanced knowledge, harnessing the very fabric of the universe for energy. Their cities, interconnected and vibrant, were marvels of engineering powered by an unseen force. Yet their
I
story
will
remains
say, man,
largely
the
untold, their
buildings
achievements
being
obscured by the passage of
absolutely every
time.
continent
What led to the
is super
downfall of this
strange.
advanced civilization? Was their knowledge
Yeah.
dangerous, their power too great? The answers remain elusive, hidden within the ruins of their once great empire. But the whispers persist, urging us to uncover the truth. At the heart of Tartarian technology lies a concept both ancient and profound: the ether. This subtle energy permeating the cosmos was believed to be the fundamental building block of the universe. The Tartarians, it seems, mastered the art of harnessing this energy. Imagine a world powered not by coal or oil, but by the very fabric of existence. This, according to Tartarian lore, was their reality. Structures like the majestic cathedrals and towering obelisks scattered across the globe were not mere monuments, but sophisticated energy receivers. They tapped into the ether, drawing upon its limitless potential. Evidence of this advanced technology lies hidden in plain sight. Intricate metalwork, unexplained acoustic properties, and the sheer scale of their constructions hint at a mastery of forces we are only beginning to understand. The Tartarians, it seems, had transcended the limitations of conventional energy sources, tapping into a power source both elegant and inexhaustible. The architectural marvels attributed to the Tartarian Empire stand as silent testament to their ingenuity. Structures like the Eiffel Tower, with its lattice-like design, and the dome-covered structures found worldwide, might be remnants of their advanced technology. These buildings, often dismissed as mere architectural flourishes, could hold the key to understanding Tartarian mastery. Consider the ubiquitous domes. Were they simply aesthetic choices, or did they serve a greater purpose? Some researchers believe these domes acted as giant resonators, amplifying and focusing etheric energy. Similarly, the intricate metal frameworks adorning many Tartarian structures might have acted as antennae, drawing in and directing this energy. The sheer scale and precision of these constructions defy conventional explanations. The tools and techniques of their era, as we understand them, could not have produced such feats of engineering. Yet the structures stand, challenging our assumptions about the past and hinting at a civilization far more advanced than we ever imagined. The whispers of Tartaria, though fragmented, paint a picture of a civilization in harmony with its environment. Their technology, powered by ether, left no toxic residue, no ecological footprint. They understood, it seems, the delicate balance of nature and harnessed its power
That's
responsibly.
definitely a plus.
What if we could reclaim this lost knowledge? Imagine a world where energy is clean, abundant, and freely available to all. The implications for humanity are staggering. Climate change, resource wars, poverty, these could become relics of a bygone era. The legacy of Tartaria is a beacon of hope, a reminder that a different future is possible. By studying their ruins, deciphering their symbols, and piecing together the fragments of their story, we might unlock the secrets to a brighter, more sustainable world. The implications of rediscovering Tartarian technology are profound. Imagine a world where energy flows freely from the ether, where transportation is instantaneous, and where communication transcends physical limitations. This was the reality of Tartaria, or so the whispers suggest. Could we replicate their achievements? Could we build a new world upon the foundations of their lost knowledge? It is a tantalizing prospect, one that has captivated researchers and dreamers alike. The quest for free energy, for anti-gravity, for technologies that border on the magical. These are all echoes of Tartaria's legacy. While mainstream science often dismisses these notions as fringe theories, the whispers persist. Perhaps the answers lie not in our laboratories but in the ruins of a forgotten past. Perhaps the key to unlocking our future lies in understanding the brilliance of our ancestors. The story of Tartaria is a call to action. It is a reminder that our understanding of the past is incomplete, and that countless secrets lie hidden, waiting to be uncovered. By exploring the fringes of history, by questioning established narratives, we open ourselves to the possibility of rediscovering lost knowledge. The implications extend far beyond mere historical curiosity. If even a fraction of what is whispered about Tartaria is true, then we are on the cusp of a paradigm shift. The rediscovery of etheric technology could revolutionize every aspect of our lives, from energy production to transportation to our understanding of the universe itself. The journey begins with curiosity, with a willingness to look beyond the accepted narrative. It is a journey into the heart of our collective past, a search for the lost wisdom of a forgotten civilization. And in rediscovering Tartaria, we might just rediscover ourselves.
I hope so. That was a very enlightening video.
Yeah.
With the free energy, though, like if you think that like Tartaria had free energy, how do you think, besides the mercury balls, that they actually were able to harness this energy?
Good question.
That is a good question. Make sure when I think really hard about it, because I can't even comprehend.
No, it's hard to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity through the lightning and a key,
Yep,
allegedly.
supposedly.
The history we've all been taught is a massive lie, and it's deeply unsettling. Before the civilization we have today, there was another thriving civilization that was far more developed than us, the Tartarian Empire, a civilization significantly more advanced than us, capable of harnessing atmospheric energy. They succeeded in incorporating this into all of their buildings, enabling them to generate free energy for everyone continuously. This empire had also harnessed the power of frequencies, allowing them to build grand architectural buildings by manipulating substances and moving huge rocks through vibrations, such as the Great Pyramids and many other architectural structures. However, in 1859, Edwin Drake created the first successful oil well, and so the free energy was a massive threat to the oil industry. This led to the owners of the industry taking action on this and slowly wiped out this civilization from Asia, Europe, and North America.
Which is what I was talking about earlier, how the oil industry would have been extremely affected by free energy in Tartaria if Tartaria existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the heart
All this stuff is interesting.
of the empire lies shrouded in mystery and intrigue. The Tartarian Empire. Welcome to a journey through time as we uncover the enigmatic history of the Tartarian Empire, a civilization that has puzzled historians for centuries. The Tartarian Empire, often referred to as the Lost Empire, is believed to have existed from the 5th century to the 17th century. Yet it remains largely unknown to the modern world. This empire's existence is shrouded in mystery, but what we do know is that it was a vast, powerful, and highly advanced civilization. Tartarian cities were renowned for their remarkable architecture, intricate designs, and advanced engineering techniques that remain unparalleled to this day. Tartarian scholars developed a unique script and recorded their knowledge in ancient texts. Yet, much of it has been lost to time. Recent archaeological findings have unearthed intriguing artifacts and relics, shedding new light on this forgotten civilization. These artifacts provide a glimpse into their culture, their craftsmanship, and their way of life. From bustling marketplaces to flourishing trade routes, the Tartarian Empire was a hub of cultural exchange. At its zenith, it stretched across vast territories, influencing neighboring regions and leaving an indelible mark on history. The Tartarian Empire was ruled by a series of emperors and monarchs, each contributing to its rich tapestry of history. As time passed, the empire faced internal strife, external pressures, and ultimately its decline. But here's where the mystery deepens. How and why did the Tartarian Empire vanish from historical records?
Yeah, why did that?
The disappearance of the Tartarian Empire has sparked numerous theories, from invasions to natural disasters. Yet we still lack a definitive answer. Intriguingly, today, there are those who are dedicated to unraveling the secrets of this lost civilization. Through groundbreaking research, new discoveries, and the application of advanced technology, the mystery of the Tartarian Empire slowly begins to unravel. The Tartarian Empire may have been forgotten by time, but its allure continues to captivate the curious minds of today.
Got some good ones tonight, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard the theory? It goes back to Tartaria, that the Great Wall of China, it's actually facing
the wrong way.
the holes that they would shoot arrows out of is facing towards China.
Yeah.
No way.
So
Yeah.
it's suspected that it could have possibly been Tartaria.
That's super strange. Speaking of the wall being built by someone else, possibly, want to talk about the Chicago World Fair?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's
saying
the
the
same thing.
influence was Tartarian architecture.
Have you seen the pictures?
It looked like ancient Rome. They
Chicago's
said that they
World
built
Fair.
it for the World Fair, but then after they just tore it all down. And it's like, that doesn't sound
Dude,
right.
it reminds me of that whole conspiracy theory that we just skipped all those years. They rewrote the year of history that it was, and so we actually are living in right now the
1500s or
now,
something.
yeah.
right?
Now would be difficult because of the digital footprint that we have.
Yeah.
But it's like, it would be so easy just to convince people, yeah, this just didn't happen.
It's that whole Mandela effect thing.
The thing is, it's confirmed. Like, it literally existed. Like, and so it's just,
Yeah.
why get rid of something like that?
I just watched that video on TikTok today.
Man, it's true too. It's like, why are we trying so hard to get rid of it when it's already been proven to exist? When Grand
Yeah.
Tartary and Chinese Tartary and the Tartarians and the Tartarian Empire has existed. So why is history so dead set on saying that the Tartarians never existed?
Yeah, I think I shared that too. Man, it was pretty interesting.
Well, I
The
shared
Great
that
Wall of
that
China?
particular video I shared.
Or yeah, either
But-
way.
But yeah, but the thing is though, like, I believe the reason why they're trying to hide it from us is because of the fact that they don't want us to know the truth.
Oh, homie,
What
we
happened?
can't watch this. This is
Why?
way too long. This is 43 minutes.
Julie, did you send that?
No.
I didn't send that.
So it's 43 minutes and 35 seconds.
Wow, I did not send that one.
Hmm. I don't remember sending that one. I made sure I didn't send anything longer than like 11 minutes. But yeah, was that all the videos, brother? Or is
No,
there a few more?
One more.
These buildings
One more?
history. 100-ton marble columns in 1850, no cranes, no steel, impossible. The truth, this was Tartaria, a global empire with tech beyond ours. Then, they got erased. Look at the fires that magically burned just these structures. See the old maps with cities that don't exist anymore. Notice how every culture has myths about giants who built megaliths. They tell you slaves built this with ropes and pulleys. Lies. The math doesn't work, the physics doesn't work. The timelines don't work. Why? Because history was rewritten in the 1800s. Your grandparents were taught about Tartaria, then it vanished from textbooks overnight. These aren't old buildings, they're survivors, the last fragments of a civilization that scared the elites. Now they mock you as conspiracy theorists for seeing what's right in front of your eyes. Wake up. The past is not what they told you. Dig deeper.
But, anyways,
That
they
little
weren't.
tunnel thing or bridge reminded me of how you say it? Natural caves or
Yeah.
golly. It's a cave in Virginia. Shoot.
They're hiding the fact that they don't want us to know the truth because of the fact that when we know the truth, it makes you question that everything that they told us was a lie.
Well, it makes you question the grand scheme of everything. And
yeah.
they're going to lie to us about this kind of stuff, then why wouldn't they lie about everything else?
Exactly.
True.
From the 16th to the 18th centuries, hundreds of maps depicted a vast region in Asia labeled as Tartaria, or Tartary. By the mid-19th century, however, this label had largely disappeared. Look at this map I purchased from raremaps.com. It's a 1624 map titled Places of the East Occurring in the Holy Scriptures, Martyrology, and Other Histories. The map shows the route of Abraham from Ur to Shechem, the wandering of the children of Israel, and the pyramids of Egypt. But most important to this video is Tartaria is labeled, with several depictions of its inhabitants. This map wasn't just created by anyone. It's by Abraham Ortelius, the creator of the first true modern atlas. Other respected cartographers of the time also included Tartaria on their maps. So surely it wasn't just made up. But where did Tartaria go? Who were its inhabitants? And could this be traces of a lost empire? This video will cover the conventional history behind the name, as well as the modern conspiracy theory that it was an advanced civilization that spanned the globe and has since been covered up. The name Tatar first applied to a group in the Mongolian plateau, but after the rise of the Mongolian Empire and the absorption of the group into the empire, the name became associated with the Mongols. Some sources show that Mongols called themselves Tatars early in the empire's history, but the name fell out of favor within the group after the first few decades of the Mongol Empire's expansion. But Mongols were called Tatars most commonly in Europe. It's been proposed that Mongols were initially known to Europeans as Tatars because the people known as Tatars led the fight west before the main body of Mongol cavalry arrived. Many Christians in Europe initially thought the Mongols might be a Christian nation, or at least allies. This belief was partially rooted in European legends about a powerful Christian king known as Prester John, who was believed to rule a great kingdom in the east. But as more information came in about the Tatars, beliefs and theories about this mysterious group began to change. A letter from a Hungarian bishop to the Bishop of Paris concerning the Tatars in 1257 reads, "I write back to you about the Tatars. I ask them about their belief, and in a few words they believe nothing. They began to tell me that they come out of their own country to conquer the world. On foot, they can do nothing, because they have short legs and long bodies. They are better archers than the Hungarians, and they have stronger limbs. In whatever manner they invade a country, they slay the inhabitants, except the children, whom Genghis Khan, their lord, which is interpreted as King of Kings, marks with his seal, burning them on the face." The stories of Prester John moved to Africa, and many Christians began to believe the Mongols, or the Tatars, were sent by God to punish them. The terrifying tales of the Mongol and their allies' brutality during the invasions had led to the shift from Tatar to Tartar, as Europeans associating the invaders with Tartarus, the deep abyss in Greek mythology where the wicked were punished, began to link them to this hellish realm. But the name's use continued to evolve. After the establishment of the Golden Horde in the mid-13th century, the ruling elite of the Golden Horde were primarily Mongols, but the population they governed were ethnically diverse, including many Turkic-speaking peoples. Over time, the Mongol rulers of the Golden Horde adopted Turkic languages and culture, and the empire itself became increasingly Turkicized. The name Tatar became associated with the ruling class, and later the broader population under the Golden Horde's control. Although the original Mongols had been the ruling elite, they were absorbed into the Turkic-speaking populations, and by the time of the horde's decline, the Mongol legacy was more closely associated with the Tatars. After the Golden Horde fragmented in the 15th century, several successor khanates emerged. The people of these khanates were often referred to as Tatars, even though they were a mix of Turkic, Mongol, and other groups. As modern maps took form, Tartaria was often included, such as on a 1570 world map from what is considered the first modern atlas, though it appears to represent only a region in what is now eastern Russia. But on many maps, the name covered a much larger area, sometimes extending across vast uncharted lands, at least to Europeans, in northern and central Asia, reaching from the Caspian Sea in the west to the Pacific Ocean in the east, and stretching from Siberia in the north to the Himalayas in the south. But Tartary was not a political entity, at least not in this sense. It was a European invention that lumped together different groups, Mongols, Turkic peoples, and various nomadic tribes, under one vague term. While parts of this region had been under the control of the Golden Horde or its successor states, much of the land labeled as Tartary was never part of the Golden Horde. Tartary had become more of a cartographic shorthand for lands in the east, rather than a precise political or ethnic designation. European cartographers and map readers acknowledged that this region was poorly understood, unlike other parts of Asia, such as the Middle East and India, which had more direct contact with European powers. Europeans began subdividing Tartary into different sections, adding prefixes based on the ruling power or geographical location. Siberia was called Great Tartary or Russian Tartary. The Crimean Khanate was Little Tartary. Manchuria became Chinese Tartary, and Western Central Asia was known as Independent Tartary. By the 17th century, largely due to Catholic missionary writings, the term Tartar specifically referred to the Manchus and the lands they ruled as Tartary. As European exploration and knowledge of Asia expanded, particularly through the Russian Empire's conquest of Siberia and Central Asia, the use of Tartary began to fade from maps, and more accurate geographical terms replaced the vague concept. But the term Tatar persisted. After the fall of the Golden Horde, it was used by Russians and Europeans to describe the people of its successor states that had undergone ethnogenesis from.
So he's basically claiming that the Tartarians are just the Mongols.
Are they from Mongolia?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I even said that earlier, Julie.
Yeah. I just kept hearing Mongols, so I think in
Well,
Mongolia.
Mongolia was one of the Tartarian. Because like here, I'll reread it real quick so you get the general idea, Julie. Okay, so when it comes to Tartaria, this ignores well-documented accounts of Tartary within the history of Asia. In the present day, Tartary covers a region spanning central Afghanistan to northern Kazakhstan, as well as areas in Mongolia, China, and the Russian Far East. So Mongolia, the Mongols, are Tartarian.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So basically, Mongolia was in the Tartarian area.
Because they were also talking about Genghis Khan being Tartarian.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last video we had.
But it was a good informational episode tonight. For those who are still watching, we do apologize for not acknowledging you guys tonight. We have this new thing going on. Basically, where we don't
waiting
mind you
until
guys.
the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll answer the questions at the end of the show. We don't mind you guys commenting throughout the show. That's always welcome. But yeah, we don't answer questions now until the end of the show due to the fact that this is our new platform that we're trying out.
Yeah. And I believe we had a question from he was asking, then why does oil exist? When we were talking about the oil.
Because somebody found it. Like, I don't know. Because oil exists because somebody figured out that they could use it to create energy. And
Yeah.
just like with anything else, you can make money with energy, quite a bit of money. So why wouldn't you use energy? The conspiracy
Yeah.
theory around
And with
Tartaria is that
but with all those mercury balls and making electricity from them, then
well,
why would we need all that oil?
that's the conspiracy theory is that the oil companies
Yeah.
realized that the free energy technology would destroy them and they would never make a single dime off of oil. So they would have to cover up the Tartarian technology somehow and get rid of it. That's the conspiracy. I mean, that's the thing that everybody wants to think about is why was that
Yeah.
happening?
And then he said stuff was founded and you said that stuff was founded and not
Okay, hold
created.
on. You said stuff is found, not created.
Created, yeah.
Well, like buildings, the internet, possibly AI, even things like that. I'm not talking about oil. I'm not talking about fossil fuels. If fossil fuels, which by the way, fossil fuels don't come from dinosaurs. They
Yeah.
there's
Also, the
actually
first camera was the camera obscura many years ago.
the very first camera was built, and we said it was. What year was it, Julie? Because you
I
asked.
think he said 1600s.
No, it was 1800s.
It was 18
18
something. Let's
1800s.
see.
I think it was 1812.
Very first camera ever. Yeah, it was. No, so 470 BC, and then later by Aristotle, the device projected an image outside of the world onto a surface inside a darkened room through a small hole. While it did not capture images permanently, it was used as a drawing aid and the groundwork for future developments in photography. So yeah, he's talking about the camera obscura. That dated
Okay.
ancient times. And then in 1839, we had the daguerreotype process announced to the public, which was another like like one of the very first like cameras like that. And then you had there's so many crazy cameras. You know,
Yeah.
you can take a picture with an orange. So I mean, cameras have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. And it's interesting how long ago it's been created. And to be able to go back and look at those old pictures
I don't know
and
about the
see the old
Hindenburg
buildings.
man. I just know it was the one that. Here, I'll look it up. Okay, it says. Yep, the Hindenburg's fire is a mystery. They have no clue why it burned down, but there's theories over the years, like lightning. A strike of lightning could have ignited the hydrogen gas in the airship. Backfiring of a motor, setting the airship on fire. Ground crew negligence. Crew members may have failed to properly handle the airship. A cold spark could have ignited the hydrogen gas, or an act of God. God simply just destroyed the Hindenburg. So, yeah, no, they do not know why the Hindenburg went down. Yeah, airships were around a lot longer than the Hindenburg, though. Airships have been around for a long time. We got rid of them famously after the Hindenburg. They say it's because it was such a dangerous way to travel, but I don't necessarily believe that. I've never been on an airship myself, but if they had as many as they did back then, and then the only reason they ever got rid of airships was because of the horrible negligent act of the Hindenburg going down, I think that is pretty crazy. We have plane crashes all the time, and they kill quite a few people. The Hindenburg did have a horrible accident, but I don't know. That technology isn't terrible technology. We still fly hot air balloons today.
Yeah.
Didn't they use them in war too?
Yes, they did. Airships were used in war quite often because they were actually quite a good way to travel. Like they got really good. Like they didn't have to fill them up all the time. Like it wasn't like an airplane. They could stay up a lot longer. They didn't have to worry about burning copious amounts of fuel. The airship was not a bad way of travel. It's like a hot air balloon, okay? Just a lot bigger. A lot
Okay.
bigger. And
Yeah,
like
and then I've seen
some of them had hydrogen gas, which is what made them float, and not like helium or something like that, but it was hydrogen gas.
Okay. And then what about?
Okay, so go on, Julie.
I was gonna say, what about those trash can looking things where you see people flying in them with the propeller thing, whatever you call? That was pretty interesting little thing.
Supposedly Tartarian technology. They also, like I said before, like we have proof now that they had perpetual motion scooters that you could bounce on, basically, that would just continuously go as long as you were bouncing on them.
Wow.
Supposedly electric cars. Now, this is all conspiracy, guys. This isn't something that's fact or fiction. It's like, but these forms of technology were around back then, which is very crazy. They had jetpacks. For God's sakes, they had jetpacks, like functional jetpacks that worked in very weird ways. Were they safe? Probably not. Did people use them? Yes, they did. So it's very odd. Now, I haven't heard anything about like flying cars or anything like that, but airships, sure. Balloons, sure.
Yeah.
I don't
And then
Right.
they only use batteries in cars. Did they have to put water in it, or
So
they
they had
just let it
electric
run on
vehicles.
batteries?
They had electric vehicles that had batteries, right? And the battery would last for however long. And when it went out, they would take it to a station, and the station would switch out the battery. That was the very first electric car. Here, let me see if I can pull it up for you real quick.
Okay, because wasn't
I'm not
there?
claiming that to be Tartarian technology, but people have claimed it to be Tartarian technology.
Yeah, because there was a guy, I've seen it on Mysteries at the Museum, where there was a guy that drove a car cross country, and it was a race between him and another guy in a car, and I think they went so far, and then they had to change out batteries and stuff before they could continue on. It's been a while since I've seen that video.
The first real electric car ever is right here. And this blows my fucking mind because we had this technology all the way back then. It really does. It blows my mind. We had an electric car all the way back in 1900.
Yeah, I
This
believe
was an
it.
electric vehicle. This was completely electric. It ran off of a battery.
I think Woodrow Wilson had one,
Take that
if
in
I'm
for a
not
moment.
mistaken.
That ran off a battery. It did
Reminds
not
me of
use
Woodrow
gas,
Wilson.
use anything like that. It just ran off a battery.
Oh wow. But yeah, anyways, we have some other comments from earlier. I'm gonna go over them real quick.
Good luck ever having a flying car after 9/11, said Elmstead. Yeah, no, bro, you're right. But China's already developed a flying car, right? Like a hover car, basically.
Yeah. Jimmy Beckett said around 12:47 a.m. Hey y'all, hope all is well. Brandon said hey, waving and a smiling face. And then Brandon said, "Our bodies aren't meant to really last past 100. It's a miracle that those people have lived past 100." And Brandon also said, "The food that we eat these days are too poisonous for our bodies." Then Brandon asked, "Didn't Noah live way past 100?" Which, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Elmstead did ask a question around 1:18 a.m. earlier. So, did the Dark Ages never happen?
No, Dark Ages definitely happened. Same thing with like the around the Black Plague and everything like that. That all definitely happened too. But does that mean there wasn't a society that we don't talk about? Do those time periods collide? Is that the problem? I haven't thought about that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean,
If
yeah.
those time periods collide, then crew, you have a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and also, here's the thing. Certain rulers, discuss certain rulers back in the Tartarian Empire. Apparently, King Solomon, was the very first ever Tartarian king.
And how and where did you get that info?
Oh, I saw that in YouTube when I was looking through Tartarian vignettes.
Okay, I've never heard that before.
Like
Me neither.
I sent it to you. I sent it to you. I believe.
Well, I showed all the videos you sent to me, homie.
Hold on. Let's see if I can. Give me a, give me a give me a moment. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
And you know what? That reminds me, if there were the Dark Ages, then did we have the oh man, that just went right out of my brain. What's that age called where they had all those I guess the Ice Age is what I'm trying to think of.
Well, the Ice Age would have happened way before Tartaria.
Yeah, true. So when did the Dark Ages happen? And now that got my mind all rattled.
About the 10th century, the 5th to the
Wow.
10th century. So around AD 4476 to around the 10th century. That period's depicted as one of the social regression and cultural stagnation and violence leading to its label as the Dark Ages.
I just sent it to you, bro.
Where did you send it to me on?
Through Messenger.
He's just said that's 500 years of no history, basically. Then how do we know about the Dark Ages if there's no history of it? Oh, wow. Makes you think. Makes you really think about all this stuff.
Why do we know a lot of different things about what we know? Because things are left behind for us to find, right?
Yeah.
All right, welcome. Today we're going to explore the idea that Solomon's Israel may have reached the entire globe, including the Americas, Far East Asia, and even Australia. The Bible clearly states in 1 Kings 10 that King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth in riches and for wisdom. And all the earth sought Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. Solomon was the first builder of what we call Tartarian architecture, but what is usually classified as Greco-Roman. Except this was a time before Greece and Rome. Traditional biblical chronology places Solomon's rule from 970 to 931 BC, and the first Greek city-states would not come to prominence for another 200 years. And yet the Temple of Solomon was said to have massive pillars with huge ceilings, intricate carvings of angels, lions, palm trees, and flowers, as well as archways, inner and outer courts, and hundreds of windows. 1 Kings 6 states, on the walls all around the temple in both the inner and outer rooms, he carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers. He also covered the floors of both the inner and outer rooms of the temple with gold. And the temple and city were built on a hill surrounded by massive walls and huge bastions. We're told in the Bible that Solomon contracted the people of Tyre, the Phoenicians, to create this incredible structure, and that the Phoenician and Israelite navy would go on sea voyages for years at a time, returning with gold, spices, precious gemstones, and a special wood that has never been identified. 1 Kings 10:12 states, and the navy also of Hiram, Phoenicia, that brought gold from Ophir, brought in from Ophir great plenty of almug trees and precious stones. And the king made of the almug trees pillars of the house of the Lord, and for the king's house harps also, and psalteries for singers. There came no such almug trees, nor were seen unto this day. But where's the evidence of these sea voyages? If the ancient Israelites were really traveling the globe, wouldn't we have a record of this? The biblical text speaks of a far-off land called Ophir that took 3 years to travel by boat. And this was the land they got the vast amounts of gold for the building of the temple from. But no one has ever proven where this land was. This temple was the most significant palace in the era, and was what I like to call the first Tartarian building. But really it was said to be based off earlier Phoenician architecture, which originated from the Canaanites. These were the descendants of the people in the Levant, Syria and Turkey, who migrated to the region of Lebanon and Israel around 10,000 and 5,000 years ago. Oddly enough, the same region and time period that Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe were inhabited. Anyway, the Temple of Solomon could have been the original basis for what we call Greco-Roman or Tartarian architecture, and this could be why we see churches being built in this fashion all the way into the 20th century. And some say these buildings go back further than we're told, and were built on top of much older structures, possibly going as far back as this worldwide culture that Solomon ruled over. There's enough claims as it is about the Phoenician people traveling the world and reaching America, but we gotta understand that especially during the reign of Solomon, the Phoenician navy and the Israelite navy were one and the same. King Hiram of Tyre was very close with Solomon and his predecessor, King David. And the Bible speaks of him as an ally to the Israelites, especially in naval excursions, because that's what the Phoenician specialty was. The Bible also says that the Phoenicians and the Israelites intermarried, and the tribes of Zebulun, Asher, and Naphtali all resided in Phoenician cities. These were the people that knew about the lands beyond the Pillars of Hercules, and of course Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, was made aware of this knowledge. The archaeological record shows the Phoenicians had colonies all throughout the Mediterranean, including Spain, Morocco, and Italy, and they traversed the entirety of Africa as well as reached into England and as far north as Scandinavia. We've also found ruins of them in the Azores and Canary Islands that could date back to this time period. They also had trade routes throughout Europe, the Sahara, and they utilized early versions of the Silk Road to trade with countries in the Far East like Babylon, the Zhou Dynasty China, and the region of Hindustan. That being said, the Phoenicians were a small and weak nation compared to the Israelites at this time. Solomon was the richest man on earth, and his exploits made the Phoenician cities extremely wealthy and powerful. He was the one who was said to originally fund their excursions and help them set up the colonies. But there's a weird story in the Bible that tells of a far-off land that's never been identified, where Solomon obtained the gold used to encase the temple, and an extremely fine mystery wood they called algum. The passage goes, "For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish, with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes, and peacocks." And we have a story from early Spanish explorers in 1568 claiming to have found this land of gold, but evidence has never been found to back him up, although people have been searching. The Book of Kings says that the Israelite and the Phoenician navy sailed from the port of Ezion-Geber, a port in the Red Sea. So we know they traveled eastward, otherwise they would have left from a Mediterranean port. The journey was said to have taken 3 years, and they returned with billions of dollars in gold and the mysterious algum wood, which they said was used to build the temple pillars as well as creating extremely fine musical instruments. Also foreign spices and the peacocks, which has also been interpreted as parrots. Many theorize the land of Ophir referred to the people of India, which is very likely as it was a place filled with gold, spices, and of course peacocks. They would have most likely done their trading through the Silk Road, and the Babylonian merchants would have made products from India readily available to the Israelites and Phoenicians. They wouldn't necessarily need to take a 3-year journey just to trade. However, in Jewish tradition, Ophir is often associated with a place in India, named for one of the sons of Joktan, who was a descendant of Shem, one of the sons of Noah after the flood. Early explorers knew all of this, and they followed this trail all around the globe. A letter in the 1500s states that even Christopher Columbus thought he found the land of Ophir when he arrived in Hispaniola and saw the people adorned in gold. The explorers also thought to look to the west coast of North and South America. While South America is very rich in silver, it's not as plentiful in gold. But the native Peruvians claimed there were massive gold deposits to the land west of Peru. West of Peru is open ocean other than small islands until you reach Asia. But there is one other place in America that has been theorized to be Ophir, and it's California. Not only does California have an abundance of gold at this time, but it also is home to the largest trees on Earth, making for a great building material for God's temple.
Nowadays, certainty is hard to come by. That's why guarantees matter.
That's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
But he even said that it wouldn't technically be Tartarian.
Exactly.
But anyways, guys, that is going to be the show for tonight. Crew wanted to show us that, and it was very interesting. But we've hit the hour 50-minute mark, so we're going to end the show tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you did, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time, we'll see you again in the Robert and Crew Show. Thanks. Peace. Much love.
Can you believe Season 7 just keeps getting wilder? Thanks for tuning in, podcast pals. From ghost stories to headline news and epic Euro travel, we've covered it all, plus a side of laughs. Don't miss out. Hit subscribe and join us next time for more news, thrills, and adventures. See you soon.